$650 million. That's what food startup Wonder paid for the popular food delivery service Grubhub. Hi, I'm 𝗟𝗏𝘁 with the Food Institute, and you are watching a new edition of FI News Review. Today, we're going to take a look at this takeout acquisition, what it means for Grubhub, what it means for Wonder, and third-party delivery in general. To help me out today, I would like to bring in Chris Campbell. He is the Food Institute's VP of Content and Client Relationships. Chris, welcome to the show.
Glad to be back, Brittany. Really excited to talk about this story. It's going to be a really interesting one that'll play out over the next couple of years, I think, but plenty to talk about today, too. So really excited to get this one going.
So this multi-million-dollar acquisition of Grubhub. Grubhub was previously owned by Just Eat Takeaway, a company out of the Netherlands. So what does this mean for third-party food delivery in general?
So I think that's a great question. I think the major question we're really going to be looking at here is this going to drastically change third-party delivery in the US? I'm not entirely sure. So I think what we could do is take a look at market share to get an idea of what we're really talking about here. So Bloomberg's second measure in March of this year, March 2024, took a look at all of the different market segments here. And one of the big things to note is that Grubhub was in third place with just 8% of the US third-party food service delivery market. They are trailing both Uber Eats, which had 23% of the market, and DoorDash, that has a whopping 67% of total market share. So even despite the partnership that Grubhub has made with Amazon Prime, they are running a little bit behind compared to their peers there. So that was kind of interesting to me when I took a look at that data. I think Grubhub, like its industry peers, is also turning to grocery and convenience stores and drugstores for incremental revenue gains. But in general, this sector has had a hard time turning a profit. So my guess is that Grubhub is going to continue to operate as normal. I'm not sure it's going to be the shot in the arm the company needs to start competing against its rivals. It might, but I think there's a lot of time to see what's going to happen there. But I do think there's going to be some enticing offerings on Grubhub to lead customers to Wonder concepts in general. And I think this could be a really interesting part of the acquisition, is taking a look at how they're going to be able to partner these different parts of the business together and maybe get some incremental gains.
It is an interesting move for Wonder, especially as analysts are saying that the company bought Grubhub at a loss of $6 billion. It was previously valued at $7.3 billion in 2021. So what's going on with Wonder? What does this acquisition mean for business?
So I think it's a great question. Obviously, it seems like a great deal when you take a look at that 2021 valuation. So we just talked a little bit about maybe finding some ability to kind of take the two companies and put them together and make some deals. I think one of the things that people are kind of missing here is just that there's a lot of new data streams that Wonder's going to be able to take a look at here. I think when you take a look at it, Wonder's kitchens make a ton of different types of food for the delivery market, and Grubhub has a ton of customer consumer ordering information that could help inform new concepts and partnerships that Wonder wants to offer. So just as a case study idea here, for example, let's say in one specific metro market that Wonder is operating in, Grubhub consumers over-index on spending for Chinese food. Wonder now has this ability with that information to perhaps launch an elevated Chinese concept in that market. And you can now take that and kind of blow that out to every market that they're operating in. I would imagine Wonder's already got a pretty good data analytics team, but just having extra data and specifically customer ordering data can definitely help inform some of the concepts that they're going to be moving on in the future here. So I think that's definitely a big part that people might not be talking about. And then going back to, the connections between the company, I think there's also like this opportunity for Grubhub to maybe become something like a first-party delivery service for Wonder's kitchen concepts. That remains to be seen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see some kind of partnership or exclusivity between these two companies in the future. And also, like I said, this is going to give Wonder with a fulfillment network that will help them as they start to build out more of their concepts in the future here. So I think the data part, and then also just maybe that first party, third party to first party delivery transformation could be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. And we'll keep an eye on in the, years to come here to see if that actually materializes. But I would imagine that's part of the acquisition strategy here from Wonder acquiring Grubhub.
Wonder seems to be pretty aggressive in their moves, their acquisitions, their innovations, and new partnerships. For example, WonderWorks. This is a division of Wonder that services stadiums, hotels, large venues. In all this activity, what do you think that Wonder needs to be cautious about moving forward?
So I think what I'll start off with is the good. And to your point, the WonderWorks set up to help out, different types of food service occasions. I know they had talked about, helping out hotels, for instance, have a quick, easy way to prepare gourmet food, right? So I think that's a very interesting play from them. They also acquired Blue Apron last year, so they have their feet in the meal prep space. So I think overall it's good to diversify what you're actually offering. And there's also like this pipe dream, I think, where you could order a Blue Apron meal kit that shows up on Monday night alongside a fully cooked meal. It could become this one-stop solution for consumers as they're looking for, ways to make it easier and more convenient to eat. Not to mention now that could be delivered via a first-party platform like Grubhub that they now own. So I think the potential partnerships and business verticals combining could really, drive innovation and bring new, operating strategies to the company. So I think that's the good part. I think the biggest thing you have to take a look at when you see these big acquisitions, though, is just a culture mesh. Do the companies and their leadership mesh? This is one of the hardest things to judge. I don't have any insider information. I'm not casting aspersions here, but I do take a look at this every time we see a big acquisition. How will those different parts play together? If they play together well, you could see a lot of success. If there's some friction or, redundancies, sometimes that can make a bigger problem for the company as well. So, like I said, I don't have an answer to that question fully right now, but it is something I'll be keeping an eye on in the foreseeable future, is just seeing how the culture seems to connect between these companies and what kind of different innovative solutions they can put together when it comes to, partnering between these different companies under the Wonder umbrella now.
Chris Campbell, VP of Content and Client Relationships at the Food Institute, thank you so much for all of your insights today.
Thanks for having me again, Brittany. Can't wait for the next one.
And as always, you can check out more of our great content by clicking on this playlist. Until next time, I'm Brittany Borer with the Food Institute.